Okay.
Forward indexing and backward indexing. Forward indexing starts from 0 to size -1. So we can take the example of these values. There are 6 values. And the index of forward indexing starts from 0 to the size -1. There are 6 values. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you want to access any of these values, we should write the index value. That is, if you write n of 5, the value which is here is f. So the output will be f. And if we take n of 0, the value under 0 is a. And if you write any values that which are not present, like n of 8, only the number of indexes still 5 here, right? So it will say error. Then next is backward indexing. It starts from -1 to minus size. So it will be taken from the left right hand side and starts from there. Here are 5 values. So -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5 will be the values respectively. So for example, if we take n of -1, here the value is t. And if we take n of -5, here the value is going to be p. And like before, if we take a value which is not given, n of -8, which is not there, so it shows error. Now string operators. So what are string operators? String operators are basically used for doing some kind of operation on strings. So I'm going to take some of the operators here. First one is the concatenation operator. So it is used for joining or merging of 2 or more strings. That is, it adds 2 or more strings. And the operator mentioned here is plus, that is used. So the syntax is going to be A plus B, that is one string plus the other string which is used to be joined. So the example is first string S1 equal to hello, and the next string is S2 equal to world. So if you want to join both sides, we should print S1 plus S2. So it joins both the strings and the output is going to be hello world. The next string operator is string replication operator. So when it is used one string or when it is used for one string and one integer, it repeats the string how many times you want equal to the integer value. And the operator used here is the star symbol. And the syntax is A and B. So if you want to take an example, we take a string hello. And if you want to print it 3 times, we write S1 star 3. So the S1 string, which is hello, is going to be printed 3 times. Now, if you write S1 star 4 or 5, it's going to show the output accordingly. The next operator is membership operator. So it is used for validating the membership of a value. That is to check whether a particular character is present in the string or not. So the operator used are in and not in. So if a statement or condition is correct, so it returns the output as true, or else it returns as false. Now take the example. Here the string is computer. Now we use the in operator, print C in S. That is for checking whether C is present in the string S. So you can see the string value C is present in S. So it returns the output as true. Now if we want to check print C not in S, it's asking whether C is not present in S. So this is not correct. So it prints the value as false. The condition is false here, so it prints false. Now print A in S. So whether A is present in the word computer, no. So it prints false. The next operator is comparison operator. So this operator returns true or false after comparing the values which are given. So these are the operators which are included in this. So we can take some examples. A equal to A. So A is equal to A, so it prints true. Now here D is not equal to D, so it prints false. Now S equal to G. So the value S is not equal to value G, so it prints false. The next operator, just an introduction to slicing, string slicing. So as the name suggests, it is used for slicing a string to display a substring from the string. It is used to access value from a string using a start value and a sub value, stop value. So example, you can take a string here as black string. So here there are actually 10 values from starting to 0 to 9. Here there is forward indexing and backward indexing written. So for slicing, if we should write the string's name. Then within this square bracket, we should write the start value from which we should print and the stop value. So here start value is given as 0. So it starts from B, the index from 0, so B, till 5. When it's given till 5, it does not usually take the fifth number, as usually when we do in range. So we don't usually take the fifth number. So here the numbers which are taken are B, L, A, C, K. That will be printed. Next, 3 to 9. Next example is 3 to 9. So from 3, it starts from C. So C to here 9. 9th one will not be taken. So it will print till N. This there's a space in between that will be also given an index value. So this will be the output. Now next is a condition when the stop value is not given. So your start value is 6. So it takes from 6 till how much the string length is. So it takes from PINK. Similarly, when start value is not given and stop value is given. So we take from here the starting index 0 till 4, BLACK. That's all. Does anyone have any doubt?
Any doubt? Yeah, there is a mistake in that print statement. And print statement P is small letter, okay?
Okay.
All the print statement P is small letter, okay? Good, dear. Then you want to reduce your speed, okay? Aditya?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any more question about the topics related with the seminar? No. Okay. Aditya?
Good afternoon to all. Today I'm going to take a seminar on the topic string functions. So string. A string is a data type that is used in Python such as an integer and floating point, but it is used to represent text. Strings in Python are stored as continuous location, and these strings are always enclosed within quotes. This can be single quotes or double quotes. Next, today I will be discussing the first 9 string functions. They are len function, then capitalize, isalnum, isalpha, isdigit, ispace, islower, and isupper, and istitle. So the first string function is len function. It is used to count the number of characters present in a string. It is mainly used to find the length of the string. The example is we assign a variable s equal to hello world. So here we give a statement to find the length of the string, that is print len of s. So here it will count the number of the characters present in the string. So in hello we have 5 characters and there is a space between them. So here also 1 character. Then in world we have another 5 characters. So total there will be 5 plus 1 plus 5. So total 11 characters are there. So this function will produce an output as 11. The next function is capitalize. It returns the copy of the string with first character capitalized. It is used to capitalize the first character in a string. The examples are s is equal to hello. Here all are in lowercase. So we give the function as print s dot capitalize. So it capitalizes the first character of the string. So the output becomes hello with HS uppercase letter. The next function is isalnum. It returns true if the characters in the string are alphanumeric. That means either alphabet or numbers. This function gives true if the string is completely alphabetic or completely numeric, or a combination of both alphabets and numbers. And the condition for this, there should be at least 1 character present in it. Otherwise, it gives gives the output as false. The example is we give S is equal to ABC. Here all are alphabets. And the next one we give another variable A is equal to 1, 2, 3. Here in the string, all the characters are numbers. And another variable is C, that is ABC 1, 2, 3. It is a combination of both numbers and alphabets. And the next one is D, which is just a blank space. So we give the first print statement as S dot eSalnum. So it checks the value of the string which is given in the variable S. So here it is alpha. Here it is completely alphabets. So it obeys the condition and it gives an output as true. And the second statement we give is print A dot eSalnum. So it checks the value of the string that is assigned to the variable A. Here it is 1, 2, 3. So it also obeys the condition and it also gives the output as true. So the next function is C dot print C dot eSalnum. This also works in the same way as before and it checks the string value. It's a combination of both numbers and alphabet. So it also gives the output as true. So the next statement is print D dot eSalnum. Here when it checks the value, here there is no numbers and alphabets. There is only a space. So it is not obeyed by the condition. So it gives the output as false. The next function is esalpha. It returns true if all the characters in the string are alphabets and there should be at least one character. Otherwise, this function will give the output as false. So it is mainly used to check whether the values in the string consist of only alphabets. The example we take the same as before. So the first statement when we check print S dot esalpha, it checks whether the string consists of only alphabets or not. Here the condition is correct and it gives the output as true. So the next statement is A dot esalpha. When it checks, it has digits. So it is not, the condition is not obeyed. So the output is false. Similarly, when we print C dot esalpha also, it is a combination of both numbers and digits. So it is also not followed by the condition of alpha is alpha. So it also produces an output as false. Same with the case of D, it is just a white space. So it also produces an output as false. The next is digit. It returns true if all the characters in the strings are digits and there should be at least one character. Otherwise, the function will return the value as false. It is used to check whether the value in the string consists of only digits. Example, we take the variables and values same as before. So the first statement when we give print S dot is digit, it checks the value of S. So here it is ABC, which is not digit, it is alphabet. So it gives the output as false. And the next statement is print A dot is digit. So it checks the value of string in A. Here it is 1, 2, 3. So it is digit. So it gives the output as true. So when we check the next statement, print C dot is digit, it checks the value in the string which is in the string. So it is a combination of both numbers and digits, numbers and alphabets. So the condition is not correct and it gives the output as false. Similarly with D, this is just a white space. So neither digit is present. So it gives the output as false. The next is eSpace function. It returns true if there are only white space characters in the string and there must be at least one character. Otherwise, the function will give the output as false. It is used to check whether this string consists of only spaces. So here we give S is equal to ABC and D is equal to just a space. And when we check the function, print S dot E space, it checks the value of the string in S. So here it is not just white spaces, alphabets are present. So here the output will be false. And the next statement is print d dot e space. So it checks the value of the string in variable d. Here it's just a white space. So the condition is right and it gives the output as true. Then the next function is isLower. It returns true if all the characters in the strings are in lowercase, and there should be at least one character present in the string. Otherwise, the function will give it as false. It is used to check whether all the characters in the string is in lowercase or not. So the example is we give s is equal to hello, in which the first character h is in uppercase. So the total string is not in lowercase. Then the next variable is d. Here it is just hello. Here all the characters are in lowercase. So when we give the function print s dot isLower, it checks the value in s. Here the first character h is not in lowercase. So the function will return the output as false. Similarly, when we check print d dot isLower, it checks the value of the string in the variable d. Here, when it checks all the characters are in lowercase, so it gives the output as true. The next function is isUpper. It returns true if all the characters in the strings are uppercase and there must be at least one character. Otherwise, the function will give the output as false. So it is used to check whether all the characters are in uppercase inside the string. So here s is equal to hello, where all the characters are in uppercase, and another variable d is equal to hello. Here all the variables are in lowercase. So when we give the function print s dot isUpper, it checks the value in s. Here all the characters are in uppercase, so the function gives the output as true. So another print statement, print d dot isUpper. Here it checks the value of the string in the variable d. Here all the characters are in lowercase. So the function gives the output as false. Then the last string function is isTitle. It returns true if the string is in the title case. The title case means the first letter of each word is in uppercase. Otherwise, the function returns the output as false. Example, s is equal to hello world. Here h and w is capital. So this obeys the condition, it is in title case. So the next variable d is equal to hello world. Here h and w is not in is in lowercase. So it is not so the string is not in title case. So when we give the function print s dot isTitle, it checks the value of the string in s. Here when it checks, it gets the answer that it is in title case, so it gives the output as true. And the another print statement print d dot isTitle, it checks the value of the string that is in variable d. So here h and w is in lowercase, so it is not in title case, so it gives the output as false. Now let us try some output questions. We give s as s is equal to Python. Now we are giving the print statement to find the length of the string. So we give print len of s. So here in Python the word there are 6 characters. So the output will be 6. So the next print statement is print s dot isAlpha. So it checks whether the value in the string is only alphabet or not. Here it consists of only alphabets. So the output is true. Then the next print statement is print s dot isDigit. So it checks the value of the string in s, whether it is a digit or not. Here it is an alphabet. So the condition is not correct and it gives an output as false. Then the next print statement is print s dot isUpper. So it checks whether all the characters in the string is in uppercase or not. Here only the first character is in uppercase. The rest of the characters is in lowercase. So it gives the output as false. That's all. Thank you. Do you have any doubts?
Any doubt? No. Okay, Aditya. Good performance. Next, Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next topic is yours.
Mine is decision making.
Who is the other one?
Ma'am,
Mine.
mine is looping statements.
Looping statement. Decision making. Yes, Krishna, you
Okay.
start.
Good morning. Today I'm here to take a seminar on. Good afternoon. Today I'm here to take a seminar on the topic decision making statements in Python. So, decision making statements. There comes a point in your life where you need to decide what step should be taken, and based on that, you decide your next decision. In programming, we often have the similar situation where we need to decide which block of code should be executed based on a condition. Decision making statements control the flow of execution of a program. Types of decision making statements. There are 4 types: if statement, if else statement, if elif statement, and nested if statement. If statement. So if statement is the most simple form of decision making statement. It takes an expression and checks if the expression evaluates to true, then the block of code in if statement will be executed. If the expression evaluates to false, then the block of code is skipped. So the syntax of if statement is if, then we give the condition, then statement. So an example is we assign the value 15 to a, then if a is greater than 10, then we print a is greater. So since a is 15, the output will be a is greater. If else statement. If else statement checks the expression and executes the if block when the expression is true. Otherwise, it will execute the else block of code. The else block should be right after if block, and it is executed when the expression is false. The syntax of if else statement is if condition, then statement, then else, then statement. We should be careful about the indentation. Example, we assign the value 15 and 20 to a and b. Then we give the condition if a greater than b, then we print a is greater, else print b is greater. So we get the output b is greater. If elif statement. In Python, we have an elif keyword to chain multiple conditions one after another. With elif ladder, we can make complex decision making statements. The elif statements help you to check multiple expressions, and it executes the code as soon as one of the condition evaluates to true. The syntax is if condition statement, elif condition statement, else condition statement. So an example is a equal to 15, b equal to 15, and if a greater than b, we print a is greater. Elif a equal to b, then print both are equal, else print b is greater. So the output here will be both are equal since a and b are 15. Nested if statement. Nested if statement is an if statement inside another if statement. Python allows us to stack any number of if statements inside the block of another if statement. They are useful when we need to make a series of decisions. The syntax is if conditions statement, if condition statement, elif condition statement, elif condition statement, then else condition, else statement. If the indentation goes wrong, the program won't run properly, so take note on it. Then example, a equal to 100, then if a less than 200, then we print expression value is less than 200. If a equal to 150, then we print which is 150. elif a equal to 100, then we print which is 100. Elif a equal to 50, then we print which is 50. Then elif a less than 50, then we print expression value is less than 50. Else, then print could not find the true expression. Then last find no, print goodbye. So since the value is 100, it is less than 200, so expression value is less than 200 will be the output, and it's also equal to 100. So no, yeah, equal to 100, so which is 100 will also be shown. Then last print goodbye, so the output will be expression value is less than 200, which is 100, goodbye. Thank you.
Okay. Any doubt? Krishna, in the case of if and if else also, you want to display, explain with just like nested if, okay? With the value a, if the value a is 100, then you want to go for this step, just like you are explaining nested if very well. The case of if and if else, okay? Okay. Okay, Krishna. Aryan,
Yes, ma'am.
start.
So good evening, everyone. Today we will revise the topic looping statements. So what is looping statements? So looping statements are used to execute a block of statements as long as the condition is true. Looping statements are used when we need to run the same code again and again. Python looping statements are of three types. They are for loop, while loop, and nested loop. So let's jump into for loop. A for loop in Python is a control flow statement that is used to repeatedly execute a group of statements as long as the condition is satisfied. Such a statement is also known as an iterative statement. Thus, a for loop is an iterative statement. The statements in any Python program are always executed from top to bottom. So the control flow is executed by employing control flow statements such as for a loop. Usually the for loop is used when we know in advance how many times a code block need to be executed. So before learning the for loop, we need to understand the range function parameters. So there are three parameters. They are start, stop, and step. The start parameter is starting number of the sequence. If the start is not given, then Python automatically assigns the value as 0. Then the stop parameter generates numbers up to but not including this number. And then there is a step. It is optional, but it determines the increment between each numbers in the sequence. Here's a short example. For I in range 5, 3, -1. Here 5 is the start value, 3 is the stop value, and -1 is the step value. So here the outputs are 5 and 4. This is the for loop working. Here Python selects an item from the sequence, then it enters the loop body, then it again goes back to the sequence, and if there is no item left in the sequence, it exits the loop. The next is while loop. It is used to execute a block of statements as long as a given condition is true, and when the condition becomes false, the control will come out of the loop. The condition is checked every time at the beginning of the loop. The syntax is while condition, statements, and then the other statements. There's a short example for while loop. Here x is equal to 1, while x is less than or equal to 4. Then print x equal to x plus 1. So here the output are 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Aryan, explain how it happened.
First, while loop will check if the given value is less than or equal to 4. Then it will print the statement x equal to x plus 1. Then if the condition is true, then the output will be 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, continue.
So this is the while loop working. The Python will enter the test expression. Then if it's true, it will enter the body of while loop. And if the test expression is false, then it will exit the loop. Then comes jump statements. Jump statements are used to transfer the program's control from one location to another. Means they are used to alter the flow of a loop, like to skip a part of loop or terminate a loop. The jump statements in Python are break and continue. The break statement in Python terminates the current loop and it resumes the execution at the next statement. So here it's a working of break statement. Here the break statement is used after the if condition, and if the condition is met, I mean if it's true, then it will come out of the loop and it will execute the statement 4. Then comes the continue statement. The continue statement Python returns the control to the beginning of the while loop. The continue statement rejects all the remaining statements in the current iteration of the loop and moves the control back to the top of the loop. And the continue statement and the break statement can be used in both while and for loop. So here the continue statement is used after the if condition. Here if it's meeting the if it's true, then it will go back to the top of the loop, and if it's false, it will exit the loop body. Thank you.
Okay, Aryan. Show that slide that based on that while example. Okay. Ask any of your friend to explain the working.
Achut, can you explain?
Here we are giving 1 as the value to x, and so we are entering into the loop. We've used while statement here. The statement is while x is less than or equal to 4. So considering the fact 1 is less than 4, 1 is less than 4, so we'll enter the loop. Now we are printing x, which means we are printing 1. Now we are going to the next step, that is x equal to x plus 1. So currently we have 1, we add 1 more to 1. So again we exit the loop and again we are moving to while. It is checking again whether the new number is less than 4. So again we have 2 which is less than 4. Now we are printing 2 and again 1 is added to 2, that is equal to
Okay.
3.
Okay, Achut. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Aryan. Okay, good, Aryan. All the 4 will did the seminar very nicely. Nice performance. Okay. You want to interact with your friends also. Okay. Just like ask him some questions based on this topic. Okay. Give one question in the in Aditya seminar. Some examples are there. No, for finding the output like is alnum. You ask the output to your friends. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Is it clear, Aryan, Diya, Aditya, Krishna? Okay. That is the only thing you want to remember. Okay. So next 4% ready for the seminar. That is on August first week. Okay. August first Monday on August. Okay. Okay. So we are continuing with our topic. It is It is merging. Oh, updation, isn't it? So employee one value, it is employee one, which is equal to name colon John. John, then salary 10,000. Then age it is 24. Okay. For employee two, it is name salary DPT. Name it is Dia. Salary it is 54,000. DPT it is sales. Okay. Okay. How we can update employee one? We are discussing that employee one. I am writing another statement. It is employee two dot update employee one. And I want to print the value, print EMP2. In the previous question, we are updating employee 1 with employee 2. Okay, that is the previous question, isn't it, Dia? Okay, so next it is, now it is employee 2 dot update employee 1. Write the output based on this statement. Srihari, Ashwin, Alvin, Emmanuel, switch on the video. Ashwin, switch on the video. Read the output, Ashwin. Ashwin, read the output.
Ma'am, name John.
I will write. Name, it is John. Okay, then
Salary 10,000.
salary 10,000. Then
Age 24.
age is 24. Then Then one more is the,
Department sales.
yes, department sales. Okay. Is it correct, Emmanuel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Gauri?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is update statement. Update statement is used along with two dictionaries. First, write the dictionary that we want to update. So here I want to update employee 2 dictionary. So I will write employee 2 dot update within bracket which values or which dictionary are used for updating this employee 2. Here I am using employee 1. So I will write employee 1 here. Then after that print employee 2 will display, that is here employee 2 name is replaced with employee 1's name. Employee 1, the name value is John. So John is replaced with Dia. Instead of Dia, the answer it is John. Then here also salary, same keys are used here. So here salary is 54,000. This 54,000 is replaced with 10,000. So here it is 10,000. Then after that, department is there. Department it is sales. Then one more is there, age. Age with 24. These are two new values, not new value. Here, employee 2, in employee 2, department key is there. It is not in this employee 1. So we'll write department sales. Age is here in employee 1, but it is not in employee 2. So we'll write age 24 here. If the same key is in both the dictionary, it will update the value. Otherwise, it will just add the value to the new dictionary. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so we'll continue the new topic in the next class. Okay.